When I first moved to the UK, the house here was lovely. But something was missing. It didn't feel like home. Because home isn't made by furniture or walls. It's made by the little things we grew up with, like the smell of tadka or the sound of morning prayers. So I started making small changes, and slowly my house started feeling like the home I know by heart. In this video, I'll show you everything I did to make my UK home feel like an Indian one. Let's begin. There is a particular smell that hits you when you open a fresh packet of filter coffee or chai. Earthy, warm, and instantly familiar. I have been using this Kothas filter coffee since my days in Pune, and no matter where I am in the world, the moment I open that packet, I know that this is home. Making filter coffee the traditional way, filling the container, pressing the coffee gently, placing it on top, this is not a task. It's a ritual, one that anchors the morning before it has even truly begun. It takes time to make the decoction, and I think that's exactly the point. So we slow down. While the coffee brews, I step outside. Every morning, I like to change the water in my urli and add a few fresh flowers, whatever is in season. Today, it is camellia and some marigold. It takes just 2 minutes, maybe 3, but the beauty and calm it adds to the entrance is unmatched. Such a simple gesture, yet it changes the whole feeling of the space. There is something about beginning your day by tending to something beautiful that quietly shifts the entire tone of your morning. Another grounding part of my morning ritual is my daily puja. I transformed an IKEA cabinet into a small puja shelf and added these brass bells, which give it a beautiful temple-like charm. Nothing elaborate, just a quiet everyday prayer, lighting the incense and taking a moment to pause. And somehow it feels like everything will be okay. I also love how neatly everything fits inside the cabinet. There is space below for all my puja essentials and of course my growing incense collection. By the time the prayer and the morning rituals are done, the decoction is ready. Now, the ritual of combining it, the dark, strong decoction with warm milk, is its own small joy. Filter coffee doesn't rush, and on mornings like this, neither do I. That first sip of fresh filter coffee with MS Subbulakshmi's Suprapadam playing in the background, honestly, the joy is real. And if this isn't home, I don't know what is. Alright, now that the mood is set, let's move on to something a little more tangible, furnishings. Very soon after moving here, I realized that when you get the soft furnishings right, a house starts feeling like home almost instantly. At least, that's been my little rule. To bring that familiar Indian warmth into my home here, I leaned into everything I've always loved: color, block prints, traditional patterns, and fabrics full of character. And honestly, it never disappoints. Over the years, I have slowly built a collection of cushion covers, table linens, throws, and bed sheets. Nothing all at once, just pieces gathered over time, each one adding its own little story to my home. And I have to say, the joy I feel every time I switch out a cushion cover or change the bed sheet is very real. Suddenly, the whole room feels refreshed. The colors, the textures, the beautiful sanganeri prints, it instantly puts me in an India state of mind. There's something about Indian textiles that bring life into a space so effortlessly. They carry warmth, vibrance, and that lived in comfort so many of us grew up with. Another thing I really enjoy doing is layering textures in the home, especially on the floor. For example, here I have added a small chatai in this corner, and instantly the whole space feels softer and earthier. Of course, a chatai always reminds me of home too. It's practical, nostalgic, and honestly so beautiful in its simplicity. You can play around with this idea in so many ways. Layer mats, rugs, fabrics, and just let your creativity take over. Sometimes it's these small furnishing details that quietly transform a house into a home. Now for my favorite topic of all, decor. I made one conscious decision very early on. I was not going to let go of Indian color, craft, and character. No matter where I lived, I wanted my home to reflect the beauty I grew up around. Let me start with something I absolutely adore, these clay bell wind chimes. They remind me so much of my balcony in Pune and of all the balconies I used to admire from my own balcony. Most of them are from local markets in Baroda and Chennai, which makes them even more special to me. They carry memories of travel, markets, and moments I wanted to bring back home with me. Now I love hanging them under trees or anywhere they can catch a little breeze. Watching them sway gently among the blossoms bring me so much joy. There's something so peaceful and beautiful about them, especially in spring when the flowers are blooming and the bells move softly in the wind. Honestly, the happiness is very real. From English blooms to Indian ones. Bougainvillea, Gulmohar, Amaltas. Gulmohar reminds me of sweltering Pune summers and streets lined in orange. You'd look up in all that heat, and somehow that color just cooled you down. These paintings bring Indian summer right into this home and right back into my heart. Moving on with decor, wall hangings are one of my favorite ways to bring in an Indian touch. These elephant hangings, for example, create a gentle visual divide between the living room and dining space. You'll also find little hangings in almost every room here, like this fabric bird hanging. You'll also notice a lot of Kachi wall art and Lippan work throughout the home, mainly because I do quite a bit of home decor shopping from Baroda. I especially love this wall with the Lippan art paired with the masks. It has a bit of everything I love. Now, an Indian home feels incomplete without a touch of brass. Do you agree? I have hanged this beautiful brass vilaka on the mantel, which adds exactly the kind of Indian charm I was looking for. It's honestly one of my favorite touches in the house. I also have something deeply special that was passed down to me by my mother, this tiny brass cooking set that once belonged to my great-grandmother. I am the fifth generation to have it, which feels incredibly meaningful. Having it in my home feels like carrying the blessings of the women before me. Every piece in this home has a story. That is what makes a home feel alive, not the object themselves. the intention behind them. When you bring your whole story into a space, your house feels like a home. Now for the kitchen, the heart of every home. Today, the focus is on something quieter, but just as meaningful: the vessels we cook in, serve in, and use every single day. I consciously try to include traditional cookware in my everyday routine. For example, I use this beautiful iyasomba for rasam, and if you know, rasam made in an iyasomba just tastes extra special. There is something about it that simply cannot be replicated. I also love cooking in cast iron kadhais like this one, sturdy, timeless, and made to last for generations. And then comes my absolute favorite, clay pots. I have a few of them. Two I use regularly for cooking, and one I keep for serving. They bring in such warmth, character, and authenticity to my kitchen. More than anything, it's about keeping these traditions alive, staying connected to our roots, and passing them on to our children. I also have a few utensils and vessels that belong to my aunt and my mother-in-law, small family pieces that quietly carry stories, memories, and a sense of belonging. And of course, I always bring back ceramics from India too and make sure they are used, not just displayed. Everyday use makes them feel even more special. Then there are these adorable little kulfi pots and clay cups that I insist on bringing back from India. I use them for everyday bits and bobs, sometimes for storage, sometimes just because they make me happy. My husband thinks I'm slightly crazy for transporting kulfi pots across countries, but I love them. It's nice when beautiful things continue to find purpose. And finally, this German silver vase that belonged to my grandmother. Another quiet reminder of home and where I belong. Home changes shape when we move. It may look different, sound different, even feel unfamiliar at first. But slowly, through the little things we choose to keep, the rituals, the colors, the culture, the food, the objects filled with memory, we begin to build that feeling again. My home may be in the UK, but pieces of India live in every corner of it. And maybe that is the beauty of home. We don't leave it behind, we carry it with us and recreate it wherever life takes us. Now I want to hear from you. What is the one thing that instantly makes your house feel like home? Please tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're new here and this feels like your kind of space, I'd love for you to subscribe. There is so much more to come. Thank you so much for being here, truly, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.